If everyone is acting around their nature anyway, if everyone is acting around their nature anyway, then what is the point of spiritual practice? Why are we doing this? If everyone is doing things on their own way, if nature is doing everything, if Prakriti is doing everything, who is responsible for actually our actions? In today's Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, we are going to cover this from 25 to 35 shlok. Shri Krishna is sharing his profound questions about ego, desire, teachings to all of us. So, first shlok is, as the ignorant act attached to the action, O Bharat, so should the wise act without attachment. As we are the one who are ignored, who don't follow spirituality, who are not in spiritual sessions, or who don't know themselves, they act with ignorance. They have no idea what they're doing. So, Bharat, which is to Arjun, he is saying, one who is wise must act without attachment, wishing for the welfare of the world. This we also covered yesterday, that an enlightened soul works for others, not for himself. Now, moving on to the next slok, 26th. The wise should not create confusion in the minds of the ignorant. This is very important. The wise should not create confusion in the minds of the ignorant who are attached to actions. While performing all actions properly, he should encourage them to perform their duties. So, the one who is already awoken, he should not teach people who are not ready. Those who are not ready to listen to the truth, the time has not come yet. Don't force them. This is what this shlok is saying. Don't force people into spirituality. There is, everyone's time is coming. When the time is right for them, they themselves will join. They themselves would want to know things. We cannot force anyone anything. On this planet, forcing something on another person is what creates karma. Forcing your desires, forcing your wish, forcing your sort of behavior that you think is acceptable. All these things, when you force on another person, only then you are creating karmas. So, how can we bring someone into spirituality by forcing them? Is that possible? So, the wise should not create confusion in the minds of the one who is ignorant. So, the one who is ignorant right now, wise should see that the time has not come yet. For example, a child learning mathematics should not be taught advanced calculus on day 1. If he is still learning 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, 3 plus 3 is equal to 6, you cannot teach him sine theta, cos theta, or trigonometry, or these kind of things. You cannot teach them calculus, differentiation, integration. He doesn't know. Same is the case for us, but that doesn't mean you should feel that, oh, I know calculus, I know this, so I am greater. That is also wrong. So Adi Shankaracharya taught non-duality but never asked society to suddenly abandon all rituals. This is what I tell all of you, that you are soul, you're not this body. No rituals are required. But don't leave anything that you're doing, because you haven't taken the next step and you will leave what you are already doing. Then you will be nowhere. You will be nowhere, not even in the middle. You haven't gone ahead and taken the next step, that you are this soul, you're not this body. And you have left the religions, those rituals that you used to do. So nothing is there. No, then you're doing nothing. No self inquiry, no meditation, no sessions, no sadhana. So, better to do something than nothing, you know. So, Adi Shankaracharya always taught non duality. Non duality is the biggest thing in this world. Everything around us is happening. How is it happening? Through karmic things. It's a leela. Everybody, universe is acting on rules. The rules are happening. People are helpless. People are in problem, suffering. So many sufferings everybody have. But do you know how important is suffering in one's life? If one person who doesn't suffer, if there is no tension here, little bit tension, then they don't grow. They don't grow. But having compassion is everything. The other day I said that there is, I think the other day I was talking about Socrates, how he went and he said, asked questions. He was a very famous philosopher. He only asked questions. He used to go and ask questions to everyone. Why are you doing this? Why marriage? Why this? So lot of questions he used. Why do you follow politics? Like what do you think? Keep asking questions. This is good. But without compassion, it's just, it doesn't make sense. That means you are not mature enough. If you go ask question to a random person or maybe a thela wala and say, oh, you don't know spirituality, oh, you don't know duality, then what you're doing? Do you think we are great? No, we are not great. We lack compassion. We learn detachment. We learn how to not be unhappy. But we forget very crucial thing is, first rule is we are all one. First rule is we are all one. Then second rule is live detached. We always pick the second rule. Third rule is always remain happy. That is your state. So what we do, we pick the easy ones for us. The tough one is we are all one, which means if the other person in front of you is in pain, you have to do the best of your abilities to help them. You cannot say, I don't care or it's their karma. It does not work like this. So Adi Shankaracharya, he taught non-duality, but he never asked anyone to abandon rituals. Rather, he's the one who did all the temples, redid. He taught according to the capacity of the listener. Whichever state he is, maximum state they can go to. All actions are performed by the gunas of Prakriti. One whose mind is deluded by ego thinks I am the doer. Everything, every action happening in this world is performed by nature. Neither God is taking any ownership in this, because in the previous, not in the previous, but in the Hindi sessions, we are covering Purush and Prakriti. So, Atma, the soul, is the reason why nature exists. But Atma also says, I am not the doer. I leave it all to the Prakriti. She is the one owning it. She, he, gender neutral. We don't have to say that. But the point being, I am not the doer. Things are happening. It is unfolding itself. Unfolding itself based on everyone's karma, based on the ripple effect of what we are doing, how everybody is acting, thinking, behaving, manipulating others. It is coming together. So all actions are performed by the gunas of Prakriti, which is the attributes of the nature. One who is deluded by ego, one who thinks I am the only doer, that is the person who thinks I am the one doing, not the nature. For example, I think we talk about this driver and car example, right? We are the driver, car is this body. So, while assuming in general if I'm driving, but consider the body drives, eyes are seeing, brain is processing, fuel the power of the vehicle is your food or prana, your consciousness, your breathing, and the road is life. So, all of these things combined together, it becomes the whole path. But driver is only sitting. The rest of the things are done by it, yet not done by it. So going to the next shlok, Shri Krishna is saying, but the knower of the truth understands the distinction between the gunas and the actions. Knowing that gunas act upon the gunas, he does not become attached. The knower of the truth. The knower of the truth means us who understand that this mind, body, and intellect is not me. Actions, emotions, reactions, thoughts generated inside of me, they are simply waves in an ocean, nothing more. I am the ocean itself. So the knower of the truth understands the distinction between the attributes and the action. He understands Prakriti and Karma. How he understands this? Because he sees this Leela, he has decoded the matrix. He has decoded this matrix. He now sees it as it is. He now sees this world as it is, leaving his ego aside. Who is deluded? In the previous shlok, Shri Krishna is saying, the person who is egoistic, who thinks I am the doer, is deluded. If you're deluded, you cannot see the world as it is. That is why self realization is very important. To fully experience this world as it is created, as it is meant to be experienced, you need to realize yourself. Realizing yourself does not mean you need to leave anything. Realizing yourself means these emotions, thoughts, actions, mind, body, and intellect, all these things I am not. It is a very famous saying of Rumi, once I let go of what I was not, I become what I truly am. The moment I let go of what I'm not, it's that simple. You just need to let go of the impurities you have kept in you. Just letting go of that, and you will see who you truly are. So, the knower of the truth understands the distinction between karma and gunas. And knowing these gunas, these attributes, rajas, tamas, sattva, he does not become attached. Here, Krishna ji is saying knowledge, knowing the truth means knowledge is so powerful the moment you truly know it, not the knowledge that you think you know. Even people who know spirituality, who can recite shloks, who can speak things, they don't know the truth because they have not experienced it. Knowing the truth means when you truly know the knowledge, Gyan, when you have attained it, then the person does not get attached to the Prakriti, to the nature, to the gunas, to the karma. Then he does not get attached. The wise person sees nature interacting with nature, not I doing everything. Currently, you go and, for example, there's a very, when I also tell you people, like when you do charity, you start getting a lot of things to give. You just start doing charity a little bit, start donating food, start donating things, and suddenly people will start coming and giving you things. We think it is my hard work that I am getting so much donation to donate further. That is the myth. Actually, because you are donating, so nature thinks, okay, through this person's medium, I can give so many people what they actually deserve in their destiny. So you are being used as a medium, so suddenly things start coming to you. And those things that come to you, they belong to the person who deserve the charity. They are not your prarabdh. Because if they were your prarabdh, you would get it without even doing charity. Do you understand? They are not your prarabdh. So you are simply a medium. The moment you let go of the I, that I am nobody, that is the moment you start seeing nature. Excuse me. Those deluded by the gunas become attached to actions, and the knower of the whole should not disturb those of limited understanding. See? So, those who are deluded by ego and this nature, these desires, these wishes, they become attached here. But you cannot say, I want to take them out. You cannot do that. You cannot go and enlighten and tell everybody. The time has not come yet. For those time is there, they are already on the path. It takes many births to realize the self, yet it is less than a second job. It takes many births because we don't want to let go. Today only I sent this to someone. We don't want to let go of what I am. The ego. You don't want to let go. That is why the process is tough. Otherwise, it's as easy as, cake cutting. That's it. As easy as breathing. You're already doing it. It's as easy as heart beating. It's already beating. So we need to have compassion in people. What Shri Krishna is saying in this, you don't have to talk to people with less and limited understanding. Don't disturb their life by giving them unnecessary gyan. Not everybody needs gyan. Some people need love, some people need food, some people need just, your touch. Some people just need that you listen to them. Many people come to spiritual saints, they don't want any solution. They just want that person to listen to them. That unconditional love, that someone is there, they will listen to you. Somewhere you can offload everything. You can tell them anything and they won't judge you. They won't judge you, they won't make fun of you, they won't make, images of you. That's what they want. So this is compassion. We're reading Bhagavad Gita, 30th Shlok, chapter 3. Surrendering all actions unto me, with mind centered in the self, free from desires and possessiveness, free from the mental fear, engage in the battle. Surrendering all actions into me means that you are doing now for me, not for yourself. When you suddenly start doing things for someone else, that weight of and the desires, they let go. Now you don't want things in return. Mind centered in the self means mind should not go again outside through indris, these five senses, into those same people, those attachments. Don't let your mind go delusion into these small things. And these are my family members, these are this. Don't delude your mind. You all are sitting here, your mind also get deluded. It is already deluded. Maybe 1% in a day you are jagruk, you know, aware. 1% where you are not into any attachments, where you don't want anything. That 1%, increase that time where you want nothing. No respect, no love, no care, nothing you want from anyone. One of the teachings of Karma Yoga that Bhagwan Krishna teaches us is offer actions to the divine. See, Karma Yoga means you have to do the actions. But how to do the actions? You do actions such a way that you are offering it to the divine. Your day-to-day housework, your family work, do such way that you're doing for the divine. Let go of the ownership, the ego. And the moment you do that, that's when the anxiety, stress, depression, all of these things will go away. You're simply just acting, nothing you want in return. Act means karma as an act. You are simply giving, performing, and doing. In your office, in your home, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, any action that you're taking, do such a way that you are not doing it. It is through me this is happening, and I am doing it for the divine itself. If you're cooking food, making an office report, giving a presentation, teaching your children, all of these things, make as an offering, like a prasad for the god. A surgeon performing surgery, if he thinks I have to save the person, I have to, protect this body in front of me, I am solely responsible, then he won't be able. Sometimes he will make mistakes, sometimes people will die. Leave it on the person. Leave it on, like, I'm doing this for the divine. You don't have control on the outcome. Even the surgeon, they cannot guarantee you, they have to sign a waiver that we cannot guarantee if you will live after this. You may die on the table. That's what they say internally. They act on complete surrendered results. Those who faithfully follow the teachings without finding fault becomes free from the bondage of action. This is very important. This is the most important thing. Those who faithfully follow the teaching without fault finding. That doesn't mean you should not have vivek, you should not be curious, you should not ask questions, you should not clear your logic. That doesn't mean that. It means is, if you are simple and you already surrendered, wherever you go, whichever guru you know, you get the teaching, you learn the teaching, and you start applying it. Instead of questioning, judging, the teachers, you go wherever, you judge the saints, you judge the spiritual people. Do they even know? Are you enlightened? What do you know about me? How do you know Shri Krishna said this? Were you there? They asked these stupid questions. Nobody was there. It's all written somewhere, right? If someone is saying from Anubhav, that's a different thing. So faithfully follow the teachings. See, there are two ways in this. One for the student, and the other one is for the teacher. For the student to follow the teacher faithfully, Shraddha. But for the teacher, the person who is coming with Shraddha, not to take advantage of it. That is their dharma. And so many teachers, they don't follow this. They cannot even handle, many gurus, they cannot handle such obedient shishya. Their ego cannot handle it. Do you know? They become so egoistic that, oh, people are calling me God, people are making me this, people are doing this, actually start being like this. And wherever there's ego, there is no Atma. There's no Atma if there's ego. So this teaching is for both of them. Those who faithfully follow the teachings without fault finding, they become free from the bondage of karma. But who you are going to and who you are following is also important. The next slok says, but those who criticize and do not follow this teaching are deluded regarding all the knowledge and are lost. If you criticize, see, this is what all saints, spiritual leaders, saints, some of them who may have not achieved that much, they would use these shlok to threaten you. See, if you don't follow this, you are wrong. Shri Krishna himself said, for those who criticize, who go against, that is wrong. That is wrong spirituality. You can question. Arjun is also questioning. He's trying to clear his doubts. You can question. You can clear your doubts. You can ask clarification, but never to disrespect the other person. Never to disrespect the person who's sitting in front of you. That is adharma. Same is the case, Guru who is teaching, never to misuse the Shraddha, never to misuse the Shraddha of the person who is coming to him. That is adharma. So if everybody do their own dharma, there is nothing wrong in this world. The problem is everybody is selfish. Shishya are selfish, they want fast gyan, they want to cheat, they want to become the next guru. Guru is selfish, they want to keep all the shishyas with themselves. So everybody becomes selfish. That is the problem. If everybody follow dharma, dharma doesn't mean religion. Dharma means right action, right karma. If everybody follow that, there is nothing wrong in life. Universe has no punishments to give to anyone. So Bhagwan Krishna is saying those who criticize and do not follow these teachings, those who criticize and do not understand karma yoga, like I'm saying, do the action that are devoted to me. Everyday action. You don't have to go to any temple. Your daily actions, going to bathroom, cleaning your dishes, cleaning your house, changing your bed sheet, doing your office work, whatever you're doing, day to day activity, make it such that you are offering it to the divine and you don't offer impure things to Lord Krishna. You offer purity. So naturally, your actions will start becoming pure. There won't be cheating, fraud for others. Even the wise act according to their own nature. All beings follow their nature. What will be the repression accomplish? Attachment and aversion exist towards the object of every sense. One should not come under their control, for they are enemies of the path. Attachments and aversions, they both will come to divert you from here. What is to be diverted? Mind. What is to be diverted? Only mind is there. Nothing else is there. Only your mind is the one, is the only problem. Wealth was there when Buddha got enlightened, when Nanak got enlightened, when Jesus got enlightened, when all the big saints got enlightened, when Bhagwan Ram got enlightened. Kingdom was there before, kingdom was there after. Who changed? The mind changed. The way you look changed. These eyes changed. Outside everything is same. Nothing is changing. Same amount of gold is there, same land is there, same possessions you have, same car, same BMW, same, everything is same. What is different? This is different. So attachment and aversion will come towards you of every object. Any object I have, for example, I have this AirPods, attachment, I will feel attached to it. It will come to me, but I have to not let it control me. Who is me? My mind. That's it. I don't have my mind to get attached to these small things. Anything, even if there is 5 kg gold sitting here, if someone comes and take it, I should not flinch. That how much you have to lose control. Mind is controlling you right now. It's very hard, obviously, but start practicing with small things. Money is next to God nowadays. So attachments and everything will come. It is enemy of the path. If you really want to know yourself, these things, these attractions coming to you, they will divert you. One who is with highest goal, he does not indulge in these things. He or she realize he doesn't have to get involved. But for that, you need to have highest goal. If your goal is like, I just want some little bit of peace, happiness, my all problems solved, then you will achieve that and you will leave. We'll end with this shlok. Better is one's own dharma. This is very important. Better is one's own dharma, though imperfectly performed, than another's dharma, well performed. Better even to die in one's own dharma, another dharma is dangerous. This is the shlok for comparison. We compare with people. We chase other people's success. We both started in the same role. The other person is ahead of me. I am running behind. He got 2 promotions. I'm still there. The moment you start comparing, you're digging your grave. Other person has his own journey. You have your own journey. They have their own karma. You have your own karma. When you leave your car and start driving someone else's car, what happens to your car? Who's driving it? No one. It will crash. You go and sit someone in someone else's car. So what will happen? Who is driving your car? Nobody. You have a path. Nature wants you to do specific things. I always say we are like body of universe. This is your body. Same universe has a body. We are part of this body. Eyes, nose. Just take 2 examples. One person is nose, other is eye. Do you think eye is jealous of nose? No, because what nose can do, eyes cannot do. They both have different duties. Same is in this world. Everybody has different duties. There is so much money, so much land, so much luxury for everyone. For everyone. Endless amount of money is there, but one does not have it and one has everything. Why? Because of our karma. When we leave our own dharma and start following someone else's dharma, this is what happens. So Shri Krishna is saying better to die doing your own duty than jumping into someone else's. So even if your own path says die, you keep doing that. This is most famous, one of the most famous verses of Gita, saying, do not live someone else's life. Whole life, you are structured to do something, get a good job, get good score, do this, do that. And you are following that lifestyle till the end. What do you want? What do you like? When will you understand that? By the time you want to understand, you have two kids and you have so much emis to fill, you have so many things to do, you have no time now. By the time you realize what my desires are, what am I, who am I, by the time you reach that point, you have all of this. In now generation, they are so, they remain young so much that by the time till their 40s they're not married, 35 they're not married nowadays, don't have kids. So either no responsibilities or too much responsibilities, there's no balance. So the person with no responsibility also don't want to seek themselves because they're free, they don't, no problems. Their problem is depression, loneliness, these kind of things. And the person with so much responsibilities is always anxiety, stress, what to do, what next, when's the next emi, how to fulfill that. So both of them struggling. So that's why we need to do our duties and also seek inner self. That is the balance. Don't chase so much, do not chase. You will get what is in your prarabdha. If you want more, it will come. When we started in the beginning, I said if nature is doing everything, then who is responsible for our actions? We are only responsible for our actions. But we have our own nature also, our mind, body. We are the Atman.